Do you believe that you need 8 hours of sleep every single night to feel refreshed and to function during the day? If so, this video is for you because this belief might actually be keeping you awake without you even realizing. So I'm going to break down the most common beliefs and misconceptions around sleep and how they're actually causing the very behaviors leading to poor sleep. So let's dive straight into it. In my last video, I talked about how to assess your sleep and find the root cause of your sleep problems. So make sure you check it out. But in that video, I talked about the sleep beliefs assessment. That was one of the first assessments that we went through. And it's a set of 15 statements that you score from 1 to 10 in terms of how strongly you believe in them. So 1, you don't believe in it at all, and 10, you very much strongly believe in it. So if you want to do that same assessment, I also have a link in the description where you can access it for free. But why do we need to do this? Why does this even matter? It's very simple, because your beliefs and your thoughts directly affect and control your behaviors and your habits every single day. This is a fact. This is simple neuroscience. So for example, if you believe that you can't do something or that you're just not good enough, your behaviors every day will reflect that, because you will put less effort into your goals, and because you don't believe that you can achieve them, your behaviors will simply mirror that. So the same applies to thoughts and beliefs around your sleep. If you believe that you need to sleep for 8 hours every single night, and you think that the only reason that you feel tired right now, that you feel unproductive, or that you're in a bad mood is because you didn't sleep well last night, you will put an immense amount of pressure on yourself when you go to bed tonight. And then, what happens? You can't sleep because you're thinking about the fact that you didn't sleep last night, and your nervous system is now activated. You're worrying, you're getting anxious. And if you remember from that previous video, your nervous system has to be in a state of calm, right? Even the slightest bit of arousal can trigger your wakefulness and can keep you awake. The other problem is that you're likely going to wake up super tired, right? So you can't sleep, you worry, and then you fall asleep maybe really late. You wake up, your alarm goes off, you feel tired, groggy, and you either decide to sleep in, maybe it's the weekend and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna catch up on some sleep, or you snooze your alarm, or you take a nap later in the day because all of a sudden you feel so tired, let's say at 2, 3, 4 p.m., and you decide to lie down and have a nap. Now, those behaviors can affect your sleep pressure system, which is what we talked about in the first video. And that means that you will find it so much harder to fall asleep that night, and you're creating a vicious cycle that is really hard to break out of, because now you're worrying about not sleeping, can't fall asleep, then you wake up the next day, you sleep in, you take naps, and then again, you can't sleep at night because you haven't got enough sleep pressure in your system to actually make you feel sleepy. So this is why before we change anything in your routine, in your diet, in whatever, you need to address your thoughts and beliefs. Let's do this. Let's walk through all of these 15 statements in the assessment one by one, and we'll reframe them together, and I'll give you some tips and some hints as to where these come from and how you can see them differently potentially. So the first one we talked about already is, I need 8 hours of sleep to feel refreshed and function well during the day. This is a belief that is very common, and actually I struggle with this as well. So it's completely normal. But where it comes from is because we are always told we need 7 to 9 hours of sleep, and 8 hours of sleep is this kind of golden number for everyone, and that we need to somehow reach. It's this goal, this perfect amount of sleep. Now, this belief creates so much pressure, unrealistic expectations, and actually your need to sleep will vary even from night to night. So first of all, yes, 7 to 9 hours is a good guideline, but it's a general recommendation, right, by the different health institutions all over the world. So of course, it's backed up by data, and yes, it's absolutely true. But what it's missing is focusing on sleep quality versus quantity. If you think about your sleep in general, you might wake up one day and you feel pretty refreshed, or you feel pretty good during the day, but actually you didn't sleep as much as you normally would. That can happen, right? You might only sleep 6.5 hours, let's say, instead of 8, and you feel pretty good. And that's because your sleep quality was probably really, really good. So you had a lot of deep sleep, a lot of REM sleep, and all of this sleep was kind of crammed into those hours. Versus if you sleep for 9 hours, and out of those 9 hours, you have loads of light sleep, but not a lot of deep or REM sleep, you're going to feel more sleepy during the day and less rested because your body didn't have enough time to recover all of the brain functions. It wasn't able to process all of the thoughts from the day. And so there's so many things going on while you sleep. And so if you're missing out on some of those quality sleep phases, then you're going to actually feel worse than somebody who has slept less hours. So on paper, it looks like you've slept better, but actually you didn't. The way that I like to reframe this thought is really just think about, okay, I didn't sleep for 8 hours today, but that's okay. I still feel pretty good. And to be honest, my body can cope with less when needed. I know that. And I'm going to focus more on quality than quantity. And I'm just going to move on. The biggest suggestion, tip that I can give anyone is simply moving on when you've had a bad night of sleep. So even if you only slept 5 hours, which might be pretty bad, right? That's not a lot, and that's not what we want every day. But even if you only sleep 5 hours, just move on from it. Don't think about it. Yes, you're going to feel tired. Yes, you're going to feel a bit moody, but that's life, right? And your body is able to recover from that. In fact, the next night or the following 2 or 3 nights, you'll probably see an increase in deep sleep, REM sleep, again, because your body will try and recover that. That's what I'm going to suggest for that first sleep belief, to reframe that. And this is probably one of the most important ones. Now, the next one is about, again, it's related to this, right? If I don't sleep enough one night, I need to catch up the next day. Again, not helpful because it promotes an irregular sleep pattern, naps, inconsistent times, right? You're going to wake up at 6 a.m. one day, and then the next day you're going to wake up at 9 a.m. and then you're going to take a nap in the middle of the day. It's not good for you. Again, if you don't sleep well one night, just move on from it. Don't think about it. Don't question it. Don't worry about it. I know this is very difficult, and I still work on this all the time, right? No one is perfect. Even your sleep coach, your sleep experts, they still have bad nights. Please don't worry about it. Please don't worry about optimizing every single night. It's more important to be consistent and to wake up around the same time every single day so that your body can reset its own internal body clock. And because it means you have more sleep pressure, it actually can be advantageous. So if you didn't sleep well one night, actually the following night you might sleep deeper and better, and you might be able to fall asleep earlier. So it can actually be to your advantage, and that's how I reframe it. So when I don't sleep one day, I just think, nah, I'm gonna feel a bit tired today, but actually it means I'll be able to sleep pretty well probably the following night. So that's how I like to reframe that one. Next one is about chronic insomnia and your belief that this will damage your physical health. Again, not helpful, because even though, yes, there are negative implications of not sleeping well, and of course we all want to sleep well, catastrophizing it is essentially counterproductive, right? It amplifies your stress, it amplifies your anxiety, and worsens the insomnia. And actually, there's now a lot of studies that have shown that really, yes, there is a negative implication of insomnia, but it's really not as bad as we think it is. And oftentimes people with insomnia actually aren't sleeping that badly, or they think they sleep less than they actually do. So there is a lot of research around that, how our brain is very overactive if we have insomnia. It might be active while we're sleeping and we think we're actually awake. So there's all of this stuff going on, meaning that to reframe this thought, this is where you need to take a step back and think, okay, yes, there might be some implications, some negative implications, but you know what? I can recover from this. I can get my health back, and I can get better. So this is where you need to kind of believe in your own ability to recover. Again, next one, I may lose control over my ability to sleep. Again, why that's unhelpful is because sleep is not something you can ever control, and you have to accept that. That's gonna sound weird, but none of us are able to control our sleep. Our body will tell us when it's time to sleep, right? You can control it in a way that you can influence the external things like going to bed and waking up at the same time, exposing yourself to daylight at the right time, not drinking alcohol right before you go to bed. All of these things you can do to influence your ability to sleep, but you can never ever control your sleep. You need to do the opposite. You need to let go of control and just simply let it happen. And that is the biggest struggle that people have, especially those people with insomnia and chronic problems, because they just feel like they're losing control and they want the control back. So that's where you need to let go and think, okay, I haven't slept well the last couple of days, weeks, whatever, but my body is still able to sleep. Your body is able to sleep unless you have some really, really, really rare disorder that's going to prevent you from sleeping. Your body could sleep. We all have this natural ability to sleep, and our bodies are designed to sleep. All you need to do is create an environment where sleep will come to you, and then you just need to let go and let it happen. Next one, after a poor night's sleep, my day will be ruined. Again, another one of these unhelpful thoughts or beliefs, because you're basically putting a lot of pressure and blame on your sleep instead of all the other factors of your day. Now, yes, sleep affects your mood, your routine, everything the next day. You will be affected by it. There is no doubt. But we are actually able to cope with lack of sleep much better than we think we can. If you think about mothers who have lack of sleep when they have their baby, right, and they're newborn, our bodies are designed to be able to cope with a certain amount of sleep deprivation. It's built into our system, and our body again is able to recover from that. Worrying about how your day is going to be ruined by your sleep is not helpful. And think about it this way: oftentimes when we have something important going on, we can't sleep, right? Like let's say you have a presentation the next day, really important interview, you probably don't sleep well, but for some reason you're still able to perform. And it's because you'll get that rush of adrenaline, your body just puts all of the effort in to perform well, and then afterwards it will recover. So our bodies are not always the same. They're not like this, right? Our bodies are up and down all the time. And this is something, again, we need to accept in order to be able to sleep well consistently. Next one, I'm better off taking a sleeping pill than having a bad night. There's nothing wrong with taking pills. I'm not against it, and I'm not a sleep medicine specialist. I'm not a medical doctor by any means. You need to decide with your doctor whether you need to take sleeping pills or not. That's not something for me to decide. But again, this belief that you have to take this pill in order to sleep well, that reinforces the dependency on it and prevents the long-term skill building that you need in terms of being able to sleep well. You need to build the skill of sleeping well. And if you keep relying on these external things, like this could be melatonin pills, right? It could be supplements, magnesium, it could be all of those different things. Or it could be something really random, like I need to have this music on in order to sleep. It's depending on all of these things. And if you don't have them, you can't sleep. And that is something that is unhelpful, of course. So to reframe that, again, we want to think about it in the short term. We want to think about, okay, I'm going to be taking these pills now just to simply help myself a little bit, to get me off this negative cycle, to support my body. But in the long term, I want to actually build up a sleep routine and skills that help me sleep better. So that's how you could think about it differently and in a more realistic way. The next one, again, we talked about this already. My mood is bad because I didn't sleep well. This is, again, we talked about this already. Blaming your sleep for your bad mood reduces your agency. It reduces your ability to cope with the day, right? There are so many other factors that go into your emotional state. Focusing simply on sleep is not helpful. We talked about that already. So let's move on to the next one, which is one bad night will ruin my entire week. Similar to the previous ones where it was more around, the next day. This is talking about an entire week. You're putting so much pressure on yourself. You're giving that single night of bad sleep so much power, and you're reinforcing your own kind of helplessness. Everything's going to be ruined. So this catastrophizing, that's not going to help you. It then prevents you from putting in the right behaviors, like getting up at the same time every day and doing things that will actually help you sleep better. Next one, without enough sleep, I can hardly function. The same thing again. We don't need to repeat ourselves here. If you believe this, if you believe that you can hardly function if you don't have enough sleep, again, it just puts so much pressure and so much blame on sleep alone, and our bodies are able to still function. Obviously, there's always exceptions, right? For example, I traveled from the US back to the UK on an overnight flight, and I slept for an hour probably at most, and it was really bad sleep. So of course the next day I was absolutely wrecked. I mean, that is one example of where it's an extreme, right? And I could hardly function. So it's not that these thoughts, beliefs, these statements are incorrect. They are simply not helpful. So if you believe strongly in them, that's when it creates a lot of problems. But of course, in some cases, this might be true, right? And I'm not going to tell you that it's not true when sometimes it is. The next one then is I have little ability to manage the consequences of poor sleep. This belief is disempowering you, taking away your control of a situation, when in reality, there's many different strategies that can help you deal with the consequences of poor sleep. Going outside, getting fresh air, seeing people, and you're socializing, which will give you kind of a boost of energy and alertness, and it will just help you get through the day. And just simply using some of that language to kind of accept that you have had bad sleep is a huge thing. And then again, the next one, when I feel tired or unproductive, it's always because I didn't sleep well. Same thing again. A lot of these will repeat, and at the end of the day, sleep is just one factor in everything. Don't worry too much about sleep when you're feeling tired. It could be many other different things. So simply moving on is the best thing you can do. And then the next one is insomnia is caused by a chemical imbalance. Now this is a very specific belief that people with chronic insomnia have, but this might not necessarily apply to you specifically if you've just had a lot of sleep problems in general here and there and you've been struggling a little bit. But this often happens after a while. People just think there's just something wrong with my brain and there's nothing I can do. And yes, there is kind of an imbalance going on. There is an imbalance in your brain. Your brain has been conditioned to be awake at night when it shouldn't be. But this is not an imbalance that can simply be solved with a pill, or that is just there and you can't do anything about it. It is something that you can address. Your brain can be rewired and can be changed to cope with these problems and to actually move on from them and treat them. Next one, insomnia is ruining my life. Again, another similar belief that's just leading to hopelessness, helplessness, shame, and is just not going to help you. One of these ones is quite interesting. A nightcap helps me sleep. A nightcap essentially is, a drink before you go to bed. Alcohol is an interesting one because it sedates you. So yes, you might be able to fall asleep faster, and many people have a drink to fall asleep, but it really fragments your sleep. It fragments your deep sleep and increases your nighttime awakenings. We all know this, right? When we drink, we often wake up at night and we might have like a dry mouth, or we might be sweating, and there's all these things going on. So your body is trying to process the alcohol while it's also trying to sleep and recover from everything during the day. So there are two things going on that are in conflict, and that's why your sleep quality will be much worse if you have alcohol. So never use alcohol as a way to get yourself to sleep. It's just not going to work. And then the last one is, it shows on my face when I haven't slept well. This is not necessarily incorrect. There's actually studies about this, that if we haven't slept well, we look different to people, we look more tired, and our physical features are just simply not as appealing. But again, focusing on this is counterproductive. It fuels this anxiety, this self-consciousness, especially in social, professional settings. And when I talk to clients, they say things like, oh yeah, I'm just worried about how I appear in meetings, whether I'm going to be able to focus in the meeting, but also like how I'm perceived in the meeting. So there's all of this sort of self-monitoring going on, and it's not good to dwell on this. Yes, we all look a bit tired if we haven't slept well. If you're a woman or you like wearing makeup, then you can kind of hide that a little bit, I guess. But either way, simply accepting that you might feel a bit tired, but you can still show up in the same way. Your body is still quite resilient, and if you're focusing on that and focusing on the positives and getting on, just simply moving on and getting on with your day, you will feel so much better, and you will actually be able to sleep better as well. So these are the 15 sleep beliefs that are part of the assessment. This is not something, this reframing is not something that you just do once and you're forever healed by watching this video, but you are more likely to stick to new routines, to these behaviors. For example, getting up at the same time every day, going outside, even if you have a bad night's sleep, and even on weekends. This will help you push through when you feel like you need to catch up on lost sleep, or you feel like you just want to give up on improving your sleep. It's interesting to see how these beliefs can shift over time as well. And I actually assessed myself 6 months ago, and I was actually just touching the threshold. I had some pretty strong negative beliefs as well. We all do. And then I did the same thing recently, and my score had really dropped significantly. And I believe it's because I've been working with so many clients, and I talk to them every week, repeating all of these things to them, and that helps my brain rewire and really take it in and shift into a more positive mindset. It's a practice, I would say. Watching this video will help, writing it down will help, but also as you're getting these thoughts, as you wake up and you get one of these negative thoughts, try and catch yourself, pause and think about, is this actually true? Is there a way that I could reframe this? And so we can all learn from this, and we all have these negative thoughts. They're completely normal. They're part of human nature. And the more we question them, the more we pause to reflect, the more we can improve our relationship with sleep and our relationship with our thoughts and emotions. If you want the full guide on how to reset your sleep in 5 proven steps, including a breakdown of the sleep beliefs, how to reframe them, and a 6-week implementation plan to help you build a routine that works for you, check out the link in the description. And I'm running a special offer, so if you grab the ebook, you will also get a free 1-hour private one-on-one coaching session. So if you want more personalized advice and help building your own routine, check it out below, or simply comment blueprint and I will send it to you straight away. Thank you very much, and sleep well.